All right, folks. Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. It's been a couple days, and I have to admit, I tried a very hard puzzle. Was it yesterday or the day before? And I got going, and I got stumped, and I was having a rough day, so I stopped. We're gonna we're gonna try again today. So it's a hard puzzle. I'm gonna breathe a little bit more, but it is hard, so that's good. All right, so we'll get the brain going. I've already seen a couple solutions. I like to look for pairs. Pairs are great. The first one I noticed was these pair of ones going vertically. No one in the left, no one in the center, and no one in the bottom. So the only place for a one is right there. I noticed these pairs of fours. Was it the fours or the fives? I think it was the fives. See, this five goes through the middle. This five comes across the top. So the only place for a five is right there. Now I did see a pair of fours here. So this four goes through the middle. This four goes through the bottom. So I have to throw my pencil marks. It's one of these two for my four. So that's alright. Okay. Alright. There's a pair of threes across the bottom and the middle. And then we have a three right up the center. So the only spot left for a three is right there. Okay. Alright. Anywhere where there's like a little alley, I like looking. Like, see this two? Zoom, comes right through this alley. So I have to have a two here or here. Like, see, this is an alley, but we already have the five and the four. Let's see, we've got the threes already. Okay. A lot of numbers are missing here, so I'm just kind of letting my mind wash over this here a little bit. Okay. Alright. I need to start writing some numbers down. Oh, there we go. I got two spots. Anytime I only have three or less, I like to look. So vertically, I am missing a 2 and a 4. See that? I don't have a 2 and a 4, but I have a 4 here. That says I can't have a 4 here, so that has to be my 2, and that has to become my 4. Okay, that's good. That's a nice little help there. Alright, so now I'm looking for some more pairs here. Now I have this 2 that comes up. So I have to have a 2 here or here. So this creates a ghost row. It says I can't have a 2 here because either one of these is going to complete this middle row. So that means my 2 has to go down here. Okay, so this and this creates something called an X-wing or a crisscross. I call it a crisscross. I've heard other more advanced players call it an X-wing. If you have the same number in two of the rows or columns, creates an X pattern. So if this becomes a 2, then this can't be, but that makes this one a 2. See this diagonal? Now if this one is a 2, then this one is a 2, crisscross. So no matter what we do, this center and this right column, and it works rows as well, but in this particular one, this X pattern completes the middle and the right column. So in this third cube, our 2 has to go in the third row or column, whatever's left. Okay, so our 2 has to go here because of this X-wing pattern. Okay, so X-wing is kind of a cool pattern to be aware of, know how it works. Now we do have a 3 that comes down, 3 that comes across. So we have to have a 3 here, 3 that comes down, 3 that comes across. So our 3 has to go in here somewhere. So it's this nice little lane, 1, 3, and 5. We've got the 1, 3, and 5. Okay, we have a pair of 8s across the top and across the bottom. So our 8 is going to be somewhere over here. Okay, we have a pair of 8s going down in the left and the right and the top lane. So we have to have a pair of 8s here somewhere. We have a pair of 9s going vertically up the right and the left side. So we have to have a 9 here or here. Okay. We do have a 9 that comes right up the middle here. So we have to have a 9 here or here. Okay. 9. Okay. We have a pair of 6s down the left side and down the center. So we have to have a 6 either here or here. Okay. Alright, alright. Alright, we've got our 8, we've got our 9. We have a pair of 3s going down through the center and down the right side. Now we have a solid one across the bottom. This ghost row comes through the middle. So if you look at this cube, I can't have one through the center, can't have a 3 down the right, can't have a 3 on the bottom. So it's one of these two. But this ghost row cuts right through the middle. So the only place left for a 3 is right there. Ghost rows are very important, folks. Very, very important. So we need a 3 in this cube somewhere, but it can't be in the center, can't be in the top, and it can't be in the right. So it has to be in one of these two spots. Okay, alright. Got our 3 there. Okay. We do have a 9 that comes down. And a 9 that comes across. So we have to have a 9 either here or here. This 9 also comes down. 9 across the top, so we have to have a 9 here or here. Okay. Just kind of looking to see how these pairs come through. This 8 comes across the top, and this 8 comes down the center. So we have to have an 8 in one of these two spots. Okay, alright. Alright, what other pairs do we have? Okay, we've got a pair of 4s down the right side and a 4 down the center. So we have to have a 4 out here. Okay. Just kind of letting my mind go with the patterns here for just a moment. Got a pair of 5s across the top and 5 across the bottom, 5 down the right side. So one of these two has to be a 5. Got a pair of 5s here in the center and the right side. So we have to have a 5 down here. So we've got a 1, we've got a 2, 3, 4, we've got a 5. 6 can go anywhere. Okay, 7. is here. And 8. So we need a 6 and an 8 still up here. Okay. All right. Okay. Six, 5, 4, 3, a 2 and a 1. Got to get my mind reprogrammed here. I'm having a hard time getting some of these numbers. Got a 1, we got our 2, 3. We need a 4 that can pretty much go everywhere. 5, 6, 7 comes down and 7 comes across. 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 7. Ooh, so this one right here. Okay, so in this cube we have our 1. Now because of this X-wing, 2 can't go here. 3, 4, 5, 6. This could be a 7, 8, 9. So this spot here, using our verticals and our horizontals and this X-wing, this can only be a 7. You know, we just counted that up. Okay, so this is the only spot that a 7 can actually fit. Okay, now we have a 7 down the left, 7 down the right, and a 7 across the bottom. So the only place a 7 can fit is right here, which is going to force this 3. Okay, and then we're going to cascade some other numbers, but this is the only place for a 7. So this is the only spot left for the 3. Now one of these two is a 3. So it can't be here anymore, so let me erase it. So this is the only place for a 3. As soon as I change it, it's going to force the 8 over. Okay, so 3 and 8. It's very important to keep a close eye on your pencil marks. I don't know how many times I've just messed myself up just because I had bad pencil marks. Okay, so now we have an 8 going vertically to the left and the right. So our 8 has to be here in the middle somewhere. Okay. And then we've got our 2 here and here. This 4 is going to be our tricky number to try to keep an eye on. Okay, cool. So see this cube here? If we do that count again, 1, this could be a 2, not a 3, not a 4, not a 5, not a 6, not a 7, not an 8, not a 9. So this spot can only be a 2. Now I'm going to get rid of my 2 here, and the 2 numbers that we have left are a 4 and a 9. A 4 and a 9. That's what we need to complete this cube. Okay, now looking vertically, you see how we have this 9 and this 9? Well, we also need a 4 and a 9 for the column, so we'll mark that as well. Now the same thing, a 4 could go anywhere here, and then we need a 4 down here, which could go anywhere as well. So there's lots of 4s we haven't resolved just yet, but I'm going to leave these two as double locked. Now the cool thing about this double lock creates a ghost row of 9s. See how this is a 9 or this is a 9? But either way, I cannot have a 9 in the top row anymore. Created a ghost row. So now this is the only cell left in this cube that can actually hold a 9. Okay, now you'll see there's 2 numbers missing for this row, and one of them is a 3. Well, the 3 cannot go here, so that forces that. Let me clean up my pencil mark. So now what number are we missing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I don't have a 6 yet. So there's our 6. And then 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so that row is nice and clean. So now let's look in this particular cube, because I know I see a 1 and a 7 here, and I know I need a 1 and a 7. So if 2 of the numbers are right there, that means the only number left. So 1 and 7 have to go over here because they won't fit here. So if I'm looking for a 1, it has to go over here. Now I need a 2. Now see, this 2 comes up. Only one spot left for the 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, and now I need a 7. Of course, this is the only spot left for a 7. So we'll jot those guys in. Now just like this 4 and 9 are double locked, if we're looking horizontally, these two 4 and 9s are locked. So this one has to be the other one of this one. 1 and 7 and 1 and 7. That way this row has all the numbers that it needs. Okay, so no matter how we cut it, these two have to be 1 and 7. Okay, so then we can kind of resolve these guys, but before we do that, see this 2 that went up? That cannot be a 2 anymore. There's only one spot left for our 2. Now we put this 9 in a little earlier, and see one of these two was a 9. Well, it can't be here anymore, so that makes this a 9, but this is going to push this to an 8, and then it's going to push this 8 to this to be a 4. So I'm just going to kind of follow that along. I've got a 9 here in the center, 9 in the left, so this is a 9. Now there's only one spot left for the 8. See, I can't have an 8 here, and I can't have an 8 here. So there's our 8, there's our 4. Okay. Now that's just going to kind of cascade here for us. What two numbers are we missing here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 6. A 1 and a 6. Okay, 1 and a 6, a 1 and a 6. And you'll notice that there's a 6 up here and a 6 here. That creates, remember, that X-wing, that crisscross. So that means our 6 has to be in one of these two lanes down here, because this X-wing takes the top row and the middle row. If the top row is a 6 here, then the middle row is here. If this one's a 6, then this one's a 6. Okay, that X-wing pattern, very important to keep an eye on and to have a good understanding of it. Okay, now this 8, one of these two was an 8. Well, it can't be the bottom one anymore, so let's clear that 8. But this one has to be our 8, which one of these two is 5, so that is the only spot left for our 5. Okay, now we see this 5 goes up in the left, this 5 goes up in the right. So now, folks, what we have is a double lock. These two cells have two numbers, that's all that they can be. So you cannot have any other numbers fit here. So for instance, you see this cell right here, there's nothing horizontally or vertically that says it cannot be a 1, except that they have to be a 5 and a 9. Those two are double locked. So this 1 does go across the bottom. So our 1 has to go either here to the left or to the right, but it cannot go, pardon me, in the middle. These two cells have two numbers, that's all they can be. This 5 and 9, 5 and 9, force the 5 and 9 to be in the middle. Okay. Now this 7 comes across, and look what the 7 does. The 1 and 7 just double locked, folks. It cannot go anywhere else. You have a double lock that's set up for another double lock. So these two cells that are left are the only two numbers left for this cube. So we've got our 1 is one of these two. We've got a 2, a 3. We need a 4. We've got our 5, and then we need a 6. So these two have to be double lock again, a 4 and a 6. They have to be no matter what. So this creates a ghost row for us that I cannot have a 4 or a 6 anywhere else in this row. Okay, so if I need a 6 up here in this top left cube, it cannot be here in the right, and it cannot be on the bottom because of this one. So the only place for a 6 is right there. Okay, we know this is now a 5. That's the only one left. And of course this one we can go by the cube, or we could go vertically and just see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're missing an 8. Cool. Alright, now this 8 comes on over here and says this can no longer be an 8. So this one becomes an 8. Now one of these two was a 2. And that pushes out our 9. So now this is the only spot left for a 9. And this is the only spot left for a 4. Okay. So now we can just kind of cascade. If that's our 9, there's our 4. And there's our 9. Okay, if we look vertically, the only number left in this column is a 2. Okay, and that also gets rid of our 2 here. 2. So we need a 6 and a 4. Remember that 4 that just wasn't given up over here? Well, there's our 4 right there, folks. So this top one has to be a 6, so the middle one can be a 4. Now this 6 flies all the way back over here and helps us with this. Has to be a 1, has to be a 6. Now we're going to go back and forth. This 1 goes across the top. This 1 goes across the bottom. The only place left for a 1 is right there. This 1 is going to come up here and help us with this. Has to be a 7 now. This has to be a 1. Now if this is a 1, that makes this a 7. If that's a 7, that makes it. It just cascades. It's just like dominoes, folks. There we go. Alright, so now we've got two numbers and two numbers. I like to look horizontally here. We've got a 1, 2, 3. We don't have a 4, but we have a helper 4 right here that says this cannot be a 4. So the 4 has to go over here. Makes that our 6. We got two numbers missing. 1, looks like we're missing a 2. And we have a helper 2 right here in the middle. So there's our 2. 3, 4, 5, 6. We don't have a 7. So there's our 7, 8, and 9. So we're all cleaned up there. Okay. Now the center cube, we don't have a 1. Well, it can't be in the right side. It can't be in the left side. So there's our 1. Now we need a 2. I don't see a 2, but it cannot be here in the right side. So there's our 2, 3, 4, 5, and we need a 6. Only place left for that is there. 7, 8, 9. Alright, so now this 6 is going to come up and help us. That has to make that a 4. Makes that a 6. And we have a 5 here and a 9 here, so we'll just flop those in there. Alright folks, I have to admit I was giving up hope there in the middle. You probably saw me slow down a little bit. I was putting a lot of pencil marks in, and I felt a little trapped. But that's the way a lot of these will go, is you'll get a lot of setup, and then when one tumbles, you'll see that they help resolve them, kind of that domino effect. So keeping good pencil marks, very important. Erasing numbers you're not using anymore. But don't overdo the pencil marks. I've told the story lots of times, but I used to have a neighbor who wanted to learn how to play Sudoku, and he had a book, and every time he would go to a new puzzle, he would every single square he would write every possibility before he even started eliminating possibilities. He'd write every single possibility, and he just tore up his paper. There's so much in there. But as always, I recommend pausing it at the beginning of the game, print you off a couple copies, and play along with. Hope you guys enjoy the game. Hope that you enjoyed it, and as always, welcome any comments, suggestions, or challenges. So thanks for watching, folks, and we'll catch you later. Bye.